Today is Tuesday, February 7th. What to expect from President Biden's State of the Union tonight, and the Republicans' rebuttal. Also, we'll tell you about the world coming together to respond to one of the deadliest earthquakes of the decade. Plus, how a notorious tabloid is looking to expand its business, why you'll have to pay more money for certain movie theater tickets, and which companies are spending millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials this year. Those stories and more news coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Tonight, President Biden is set to speak before a politically divided Congress for his annual State of the Union. Usually, this is a time for the president to speak on what Americans are going through now and lay out an agenda for the year ahead. This year, there is quite a bit Biden has to contend with. There are the growing tensions with China, a war in Ukraine, economic uncertainty, a standoff over raising the federal debt limit, and a lot more. On top of the new Republican majority in the House launching investigations into him, his family, and his administration. There could be some tense moments tonight, since reports say the president will be laying out some ideas that aren't popular with Republicans, like a minimum tax on billionaires. The president is also expected to address gun violence and police brutality. That said, reports say he'll likely mention some of the same things that got bipartisan support last year, like actions to address the opioid epidemic, mental health, and fighting cancer. You can watch the State of the Union at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be on all the major networks and cable news channels, and of course, will also be available online. Right after Biden's address, Arkansas's new governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, will deliver the Republican response. She's expected to make the case that Democrats are out of touch with mainstream American values. We'll recap all of that for you tomorrow morning. Rescue crews in Turkey and Syria are still working around the clock in near freezing temperatures to search for earthquake survivors. Sadly, they're learning a lot more people have died. The death toll has now topped 4,300, and it's expected to continue to go up. The U.S. says the earthquake could end up causing 10,000 deaths and $1 billion in damages, too, since thousands of buildings were destroyed, including schools, hospitals, and shelters. The initial quake was a magnitude 7.8, and there have been hundreds of aftershocks since, one that was as strong as a magnitude 7.5. Now, governments around the world are deploying their own search and rescue teams to help out, along with rescue dogs, medical squads, equipment, and other aid. You can help, too, by supporting an organization like UNICEF, Global Giving, Oxfam, Doctors Without Borders, or Save the Children. We have links in today's episode notes with even more groups accepting donations now. China confirmed the world's suspicions, saying yes, it's responsible for another balloon. This one has been spotted floating over Latin America and the Caribbean. But again, China says it's not spying. This time, China says the balloon is just being used for test flights, and like the other one, it veered off course. Remember, China said the balloon the U.S. shot down off the coast of South Carolina was a weather balloon. The U.S. government says that's just not true, that both balloons are part of a Chinese fleet developed specifically for surveillance. So far, Latin American countries haven't said much about the second balloon. The Colombian Air Force just says it's not a threat to national security. Still, this is apparently nothing new. The head of NORAD here in the U.S. says Chinese balloons entered American airspace at least 3 times during the Trump administration and at least one other time earlier in the Biden administration. But he says the U.S. was not aware of them until the intelligence community discovered them after the fact. On social media, former President Trump called that fake disinformation. Either way, American officials say they're trying to figure out how to better spot these things as they also look into China's motives. It's also worth noting that the U.S. has used similar surveillance tools on other countries, at least in the past, though it's not clear how often the U.S. military may use them now. American companies are pouring money into Central America after some convincing from the U.S. government. Vice President Kamala Harris now says in less than 2 years, private companies have promised to invest $4.2 billion. Most recently, 10 companies like Nestle, Target, and Columbia Sportswear signed on for projects in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. They say they'll support farmers, create jobs, and invest in telecommunications and other industries. And the U.S. government will help coordinate the investments. The idea is to kickstart some growth in Central America to hopefully keep so many people from wanting to leave and migrate to the U.S. But executives with some of the companies who are spending money in Central America say it is going to take a few years to really make much of a difference. And crossings at the U.S.-Mexico border are still at record highs. More news is still coming up, but first, a quick break for our sponsor, Rocket Money. Do you know how much your subscriptions cost? According to Rocket Money, most Americans think they spend about $80 a month on subscriptions, when the actual total is closer to $200. So if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. I know I forgot I was paying for a workout app, even though I had not taken a class with them for months. But as soon as I signed up for Rocket Money, I realized it and I was able to cancel right then and there, along with a couple of others. I also appreciate that I can get an overview of everything going on with my accounts at any time, quickly and easily in one spot. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. That's rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. rocketmoney.com/newsworthy. Well, it seems the newer Apple devices are still causing some issues for some 911 dispatch centers. Remember, last year, Apple launched crash detection for the iPhone 14 and the latest Apple Watch models. The idea is it detects a severe car crash or fall and automatically calls emergency services if you don't stop it within 20 seconds. But now, the devices seem to be mistaking normal activities of skiers and snowboarders as crashes. We told you back in October that this was happening, especially around theme parks because of roller coasters. Well, now dispatchers who work near a lot of ski resorts told the New York Times that they are getting overwhelmed. And they're worried about diverting resources away from legitimate emergencies. In response to the report, Apple said the company is aware of this problem, but says the benefits of the feature far outweigh the occasional inconvenience since several lives have been saved because of it. It's also worth noting people can turn the feature off if they want before they go skiing or snowboarding. Google announced its new artificial intelligence chatbot even sooner than expected. It's called Bard, and is considered a direct competitor to the popular ChatGPT. Bard is built on Google's existing large language model, LaMDA. We told you about that last year when one Google engineer said it became sentient, meaning he thought it was a person who has rights and maybe even a soul. Google wouldn't quite go that far, but the company's CEO says Bard does do quite a lot. Mostly, it can give users text responses to their questions based on information it finds on the web. Bard is rolling out to a select set of testers now, and Google is planning a broader public launch in the coming weeks. The tech giant also announced it's updating its search engine with new AI tools. Google says it will soon be able to give you multiple perspectives on a topic so you can get the big picture in a format that's easy to digest. By the way, it's also believed that Microsoft is about to bring ChatGPT to its search engine, Bing, following a multi-billion-dollar investment in ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI. Microsoft has an event today where it says it will be announcing progress on a few existing projects. So stay tuned. Famous tabloid that's been at the center of many controversies over the years now has a new owner who has some big expansion plans. VVIP Ventures bought the National Enquirer, along with its partner brands like the National Examiner and the Globe. The companies didn't say how much the deal was worth, but some reports put the figure at roughly $100 million. Of course, the National Enquirer is best known for its wacky headlines and scandalous stories, but some have actually become mainstream media news. Some notable ones recently involved people like Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and former President Trump. Now the new owners say it will keep the magazines and subscriptions, but it will also expand into TV, film, and podcasts. The deal is expected to close in the coming months. Well, next time you go to the movies, it might cost extra to get the good seats. The country's largest theater chain, AMC, just unveiled a new pricing model that sort of mimics concert ticket pricing. Now, seats in the middle of the auditorium will cost $1 or $2 more, and seats in the front row will be slightly cheaper. The new pricing plan has rolled out in certain locations already, but by the end of the year, it will be at all AMC theaters in the U.S. after 4 p.m., except on Tuesdays when AMC offers discounted tickets. Of course, this is just the latest attempt by a major movie theater chain to boost its revenue in the wake of COVID-19. Already, some have charged more for the highly anticipated movies, and other less popular movies are cheaper. Fox has sold out all of its ad spots for this weekend's Super Bowl. And as usual, it looks like big brands are willing to pay big money for you to see them at the big game. This year, peak prices for a 30-second Super Bowl spot are upwards of $7 million. Fox wouldn't go into exactly how much each brand paid, But it said a lot of the familiar categories are on board, like cars, tech, movie studios, and snack foods like Doritos and M&Ms. And for the first time in more than 3 decades, there will be ads for alcohol brands other than Anheuser-Busch. The Budweiser brewer gave up its exclusive rights last summer. So expect to also see commercials for Heineken, Coors, and more. One thing you will not be seeing, ads from any crypto companies. That's a huge change from just last year. Some people actually called it the Crypto Bowl because 4 cryptocurrency companies ran splashy commercials. But Fox says this year there's 0 representation in that category. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Trivia Tuesday, when we ask a different trivia question every week. But first, this podcast is sponsored by Indeed. All right, fellow business owners, if you enjoy getting these news highlights quickly, then check out Indeed to get the highlights you need to hire well. With Indeed Instant Match, you can instantly receive a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. So if you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. In the minute I've been talking to you, 16 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Indeed knows that finding people with the right skills makes all the difference when you are a hiring team of one. Visit Indeed.com/newsworthy to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/newsworthy. Indeed.com/newsworthy. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Okay, now back to Trivia Tuesday. Today's trivia question is, which monarch officially made Valentine's Day a holiday in 1537? You can answer the question and play along with us on Instagram. Find and follow us at NewsworthyPod. And look for the trivia quiz in our Instagram stories today. As for last week's trivia question, what sport is dubbed the king of sports? The answer is soccer. And if you look at the stats, it's easy to see why. It's the sport with the largest audience worldwide. It has many of the biggest and most invested leagues and some of the most giant stadiums. And there are international tournaments every year, so you don't have to wait until the Olympics to cheer for your country on the field. But that's just professional soccer. Really, almost anyone can play the game, regardless of age, gender, or wealth, since there's not a lot of equipment required. All right, thank you so much for listening today and for supporting the show. We'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.